Like my friend Bodie Elfman, he always teases me and he says, "Hi, my name is Danny Masterson. Would you like to touch my balls?" You know, doing an imitation of me, because certain words.
Why are you asking people to do that? That's the more important question.
I mean, you got them.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Accent aside,
Everybody should grab.
that's the more important thing.
Exactly.
I've heard about you, and you'll be caught soon. I know you will.
I will.
Okay, there we go. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I don't know why it was feeding back, friends, but hopefully this one will go better. So welcome to another episode of Backflash Fridays. And that clip that you just saw was from 2004, Conan O'Brien confronting now convicted sex offender, thank God, serial rapist as it's coming forward as more gals come out, Danny Masterson. So that begs the question, how many people in Hollywood were aware of it and how many are now going to claim, I didn't know what happened? To discuss that and many other things, please welcome my lovely co-host, Mr. Marcus Sawyer. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm all right. Me? How are you? You?
Well, a challenging beginning, but other than that, not bad. I've been looking forward to this, man, because Marcus, I was a little bit too excited and looked like a crack addict when we were talking about it before. And I apologize to you and the audience for cutting you off and just babbling. But dude, I was just on a high.
Yeah, I was too.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's understandable because, like, you know, of the proximity of that clique, you know.
Exactly. Do you want to share briefly? Since we already covered it before in your interviews, and I'll throw in a couple cents, but you want to share briefly your background? Because we happen to run with this clique during the time that this stuff was all happening, unbeknownst to almost everybody.
You know, I would say definitely adjacent, you know. Hal didn't really hang out with them. Rachel didn't hang out with them, but
Good point.
that they're made a habit of. Lindsay Bartleson didn't really. I think she did go to some of the parties. I think maybe Rachel and Hal. I don't know if they went to some of the parties. I'm pretty sure that Lindsay did, but yeah, the adjacency is like, you know, it's not even. It's like half a degree of separation.
Not even that.
Right.
Carol Masterson's mother was my freaking manager when this was happening, dude. And by the way, Aaron Smith-Levin did a really interesting interview, as did Today. And then Tony Ortega interviewed Joe, their previous stepfather. That's the father of Alana Masterson and Jordan Masterson. I highly recommend checking those out because he had some pretty interesting insight to share. But I do still think, Marcus, that he's in a little bit of a denial that Danny's a sociopath. I mean, who would want to accept that with their kid? It reminds me of Ron Miscavige Jr. He could never accept that David was a good kid when he was growing up. I mean, are you sure about that? You know, who knows? But I don't think it just came out of the blue with Danny. You know, he started, the first allegation came forward when he was around 18, and that was in 93 or 94. And also linked in the description, my friends, is another interview that Aaron did showing more evidence of about 15 people now that have come forward either in the past or recently. And that's linked in the description box. Because, Marcus, I don't want to spend half the time explaining to people why he's guilty. He was found guilty, you know, in a court of law. But I understand that people have a lot of questions, and it's a really complex case. And yeah, they did wait, quote unquote, 20 years. So we covered that previously. And like I said, I linked videos that will go into more detail about that because I didn't want to get, you know, go into that discussion again. But it is complex, right?
The case?
Yeah. I mean, just the ins and outs. And of course, someone's going to have
Scientology lawyers. It's going to be enormously,
there you go.
An enormous web to untangle just to, you know, have a motion, a judgment, you know, the the conditions under which they're interviewed, the conditions of all the conditions. It's like
Literally and figuratively.
literally and figuratively conditions. Yeah.
It's such a mess, Marcus. It's
Wow.
such a mess when you add the cult element into this. No wonder it's hard for people to understand.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
So there was a lot of there was just a lot of fervent. Even Cynthia was like super emotional that day.
She threw her phone, didn't she, dude? On the bed or something, or she started crying or something.
Well, she started crying for sure. She did make a pretty big gesture with the phone, and she looked at me and she was like, "Bam! 2 convictions."
Wow, what was your reaction?
I was like, what? I honestly, I don't keep up with this.
I understand, but did you know what she was talking about right when she said that?
Yes, yeah. Whenever,
how did you feel?
2 convictions, I figured it was Danny Masterson, and I was in shock. Straight up, like I was straight up in shock because you and I both believed, and maybe I err on the side of caution, right? Not to sound like a pessimist, but it's clear that the amount of control that Scientology and its affiliate organizations have and their hold on the system in and around Hollywood is losing some of its grip.
And I think we might see more of that as the weeks progress. And we're going to talk about some of that today, the latest developments. Just to let you guys know, a good jumping off.
She just said, yes, I threw the phone on the bed and yelled, "Fuck yeah."
Hell yeah. Femme Morte. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Femme Morte. That's dead girl.
Femme Morte.
That's French, yeah.
Dead girl is Marcus's alive girlfriend.
Yeah.
And maybe if you guys stick around and we're lucky enough, she will make an appearance with her unbelievably cute dog. I know you feel differently, Marcus, and I understand. We went into this on one of the other interviews. She humps the thing, and if you move slightly, she goes bonkers, but I haven't seen any of that, so I want to see her, goddammit.
Oh, my God.
Guys, what we're going to do...
The angry masturbator.
I know.
She's going to do it. What Cynthia says, she's going to do it, but she's just going to be mad about it.
Hey,
everything that she does, she's just going to do it.
Her and Danny would get along just fine. She apparently likes angry, rough, violent sex.
Yeah, that clip is something else.
I know. I have another one to show you too. Guys, we have a lot to cover, but what we decided to do to shut my ass up and to make it a little more pressure over here, we're going to take up the comments starting from the top. And because there was some amazing feedback, questions, and observations. And that's going to fit perfectly into jumping off into our stories. So, Marcus, if you want to toss that over here, we can almost get started with that.
Okay.
And then I do have some interesting videos to show you, bro, about Mr. Donkey Punch. And we're also going to talk about, did Ashton Kutcher and his mates, know what was going on, etc. But to dive into that, we'll start with the comments. And by the way, it's good to see you guys. And apologies if you're just joining us. We had a fallout on my end about the thing feeding back, so we had to quickly create a new one.
Technical difficulty.
Exactly. Hit it, brother. Oh, I wanted to say real quick, guys, as Marcus talks and we go over this, I'll jump in if I have anything to add or not, but we're going to plow through these, and you are encouraged, as always, to ask questions as you go. Anything at all, I'll star them if we miss them. Channel is not monetized, and I never will monetize it, so you don't have to pay for questions. Just either put it in bold, put at Dazed and Confused, or just throw it out there and I'll star it. We'll either cover it at the end, or if it's pertinent to what Marcus is talking about and he wants to take it up, I'll throw it on the screen. So please participate. Cool. Sir, over to you.
Okay, so I sorted by the top comments, and boy, was that last video we got on the little algorithm there, didn't we?
Yeah, unfortunately, the worst video we put out in terms of me I just was way too excited. Again, I'm sorry, man. Our worst video finally got picked up a little by the algorithm.
Well, because of anything that has any negativity in it, even if it's just a little bit, it's like the algorithm's like, negativity.
That's true.
Negativity.
And then you add that with a hot topic,
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got a recipe for 10,000 views or however many it's got.
That's why nor you or I don't focus on doing that. Just whatever that,
No,
if we
just so everyone knows,
to
disclose something about my channel. And like,
Please.
I do not care about, it's not that I don't care about the content. I do care. Everything that I present, I mean from my heart, basically. And
I know,
the
man.
experience that I went through, that I documented on YouTube, was a pretty visceral and raw experience. It's right now it's curated to only about 50 videos, but there's over 200 of a period of time where I was transitioning out of that mind space of being a cult member. And so it's never about how many views I get. It's about, can people relate and understand what this puts people through, and where your mind goes and how that transitions and how you start to learn to live, your life again, because
exactly.
you are under the control of some other force. So we can go to the questions. Yeah.
But that's a good point, Marcus. Just to plug your channel real quick, because
Mm.
you've been putting up some content late, and that video you put out yesterday was amazing. This guy really, really breaks down the quote unquote technology and gets into the nitty gritty of the mind control. I'm
Did you
looking
like the
forward.
Shepherd? The Mass Effect stream?
Yeah, I love you. He uses a video game. I know nothing about it. I know nothing about video games, but just you using Mass Effect to go through like what it's like being a Sea Org member and how Scientology works. Keep putting up content, bro. I love it. And I'd love to hear you break the shit down, man.
That's actually a little series I call Wiz, and it's a mockery of what is Scientology book that is like the book that you get your family member for Christmas.
Oh God, not Dianetics.
Yeah, because Dianetics is out gradient. What is Scientology?
True.
Is like it caters to your Christian family members or your other Judeo-Christian faith type or even Muslim faith people to let them know that, hey, they're not denying your religion. They're just practicing Scientology. See, yep. But I turned it into what if Scientologist? What if your favorite game hero is a Scientologist? And I try to break down the concepts. Narrative games work really well for that. So Mass Effect has a lot of great writers, and it has a Navy culture, which is like perfect for the Sea Org. And it's space opera, so it's like perfect for Scientology. So I couldn't think of a better example to showcase some of the actions of a staff member that are questionable, immoral, or good, or and moral, because the game lets you make those kinds of choices. And so what it does over time is it allows you to sort of see through a porthole in the Normandy or /Free Winds as to what it's like being in a Scientology environment.
Like I said, man, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. In-Theta's YouTube channel is always in the link of the description box. Please sub if you haven't, because he's got more stuff coming. So hit it, brother. Let's get into this. We got a lot to cover, man.
Yeah, we do. So 5 days ago, it seems a good number of people don't realize DM did not deny any of it. That was his defense. That DM meaning Danny Masterson.
And it's funny, by the way, Marcus, that he happened to have David Miscavige's initials. What are the odds?
Interesting. X-Files music play. The victims proved it was, in all caps, was not consensual. It was brutal. Okay, so I mean, there's a lot of these that we're going to agree with. I'm just going to sort of go through and I'm going to find some of the ones, because there's over 230 comments, and there are some. This one right here, Leah R7795. After reading the daily testimony from both trials, I am convinced that a select few of Danny's friends were very aware of what he was doing, and I am convinced of that too. Doug, are you convinced of that?
Yeah, in fact, there's evidence that come out where I believe his name was Luke Watson, who was, I might have that name wrong, but does that name ring a bell, Marcus?
No.
He was hanging around Danny and was kind of privy to helping him, quote unquote, set up the girls coming in.
The shows? Oh, okay,
yeah.
The girls. Right.
Do you want me to show a clip of the 70s show response to whether or not they thought Danny?
Yeah,
is that a good for now?
Yeah,
I don't want.
I got my cursor right where it needs to be to continue the comment from here. Yeah, if
perfect, man. And I have other relevant things to throw up as we go here as you read the comments.
This shit out.
All right, check this out, guys. Like I said, we have some very interesting videos to show you, and we'll definitely be giving trigger warnings on a couple of these, because some of this people might not want to hear. So, and then we have a beautiful outro song here too, bro, that I can't wait to play. Okay, so Ashton Kutcher addresses Danny Masterson. Let me find it here. So this is Ashton Kutcher addresses Danny Masterson rape allegations.
Okay.
Hang on a second, brother.
Full screen that hoe.
Okay, just to make sure this thing doesn't feed back. I think
You're so paranoid about that?
I am, because I think I just already fucked it up.
Really?
Maybe. Let me actually put this down.
Close the tab and reopen it.
Okay, there's StreamYard. There's the video. Guys, stand by. I just want to make damn sure it doesn't feed back. Can you hear this okay, Marcus? Can you hear that okay?
I don't hear anything. I don't hear the video if there's video playing.
Okay, so I'm on the wrong one. Stand by, guys.
Roger. It's Friday.
Go, brother. So this is Ashton Kutcher addresses Danny Masterson rape allegations from a few months ago. And of course, they don't really say much, but check this out.
Any comments?
Over 5 years after Danny Masterson's rape allegations surfaced, his former That 70s Show co-star Ashton Kutcher breaks his silence. The actor opens up to Esquire. In short, it's complicated. Kutcher wants Masterson to be found innocent of the charges brought against him, but at the same time doesn't want his friend to get off the hook. Quote, I wholesale feel for anybody who feels like they were violated in any way. In 2017, Masterson was hit with multiple sexual assault accusations, which he denied. At the time, he and Kutcher were co-stars on another sitcom, The Ranch.
What are you talking about?
When you sit with your friends and you know when their sentences are
About to end.
In the wake of the
Man, that smile is wiped off his face now. FYI, guys, I put 3 videos from Aaron Smith-Levin interviewing people about what Danny can be expected to be going through in jail and then prison, and it's really, really bad.
allegations, Netflix fired Masterson. His character Rooster written off.
So you got 2 choices. Either take that bag and disappear, or you could just disappear.
In 2020, he was charged with sexually assaulting 3 women between 2001 and 2003. As Kutcher sees it, ultimately, I can't know. I'm not the judge, I'm not the jury, I'm not the DA, I'm not the victim, and I'm not the accused. With that in mind, Kutcher concludes, I don't have a space to comment, I just don't know. As for Masterson's court saga, it's still ongoing. In December, the deadlocked jury led to a mistrial. But in the new year, prosecutors plan to retry Masterson. Also in 2023, a notable absence from this reunion.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, girl. It was like super nostalgic and really odd. Like going back into the basement, and like the fact that that happened is insane.
Masterson's character Hyde was the only OG absent from Netflix's reboot That 90s Show. Parents can watch.
Were you not here with me in the 70s? They are not the best watchers.
With Kutcher's comment, that makes 2 That 70s Show cast members to speak out. The other, Topher Grace.
I'm doing an impression. Well, you suck at impressions.
Back in 2018, he said of Masterson's allegations, quote, I hesitate to say that I never saw any of that behavior because I feel like it sounds like I'm defending him. But the truth is, I never saw any of that stuff. As for Kutcher's relationship with Masterson today, he tells Esquire they remain in touch, and the reason he's waited to share his reaction, he's mindful of Masterson's 8-year-old daughter, Fiona.
His daughter's like a couple months older than my daughter.
Quote, someday his child is going to read about this. Jury selection. New trial is set for March 29th.
And we know the results of that. So, Marcus,
someday my children are going to watch this shit, you know?
I know. And as you said, we're going to take up questions as we go. And yeah, Flower, I think absolutely he'd know everything about each other. They were like brothers. What do you think, Marcus? Do you think Mr. Ashton Kutcher was privy to Danny and he's just copying out like
that goes right back into the question. So let's if you want to present that again, and we'll finish up and answer. I have a response already.
Sure.
So after reading the daily testimony from both trials, I'm convinced that a few of Danny's friends, a select few of Danny's friends, were very aware of what he was doing, including his assistant that was his best friend, that was best friends with one of the Jane Does, who both times just happened to not be around or available.
Right.
I'm sure to keep her job, she had no choice, but one of his closest friends that was always around absolutely knew and tried to intervene at one point. How did that dude have so much power over his friends is beyond me. And we kind of answered some of that in that video, sort of. But like, there's another comment later where someone's like, "Where's the beef?" And I agreed with him.
Yeah.
He's talking about our video, and he's kind of, like he's I think everyone's as shocked, and then some people are shocked and upset. You know what I mean? Like,
some of those people will be Scientology trolls too, friends. They're definitely out in the comment section and all over the place to just do their typical tactics. But he was found guilty by a court of law, and that's why I said I linked Aaron Smith-Levin's video from a few days ago with 15 people now, either coming forward in the past or recently, and there will for sure be more people. He is a serial rapist. This started back in 1993, 94 was his first victim that came forward. So we're talking 30 fucking years of this guy. And that's only the ones that we know about and that have come forward.
Right.
So,
And then there's other little cultures around that, the people that I didn't like, the adjacent people that I knew that knew Masterson, like Aaron Larson, Fight Fellas. That's what
right.
in my response here, I said Fight Fellas was another DJ name of a fellow named Aaron Larson, another wealthy Scientology family, and he was a second gen. Fight Fellas, from what I gathered at the time, and from what Doug has talked about, fight clubs. Fight Fellas, what I gather, was the Fight Club thing that Doug referred to in the video. Both Donkey Punch and Fight Fellas would have a flyer somewhere, or perhaps they were all burned. But yeah, Donkey Punch and Fight Fellas, that was the thing.
That's amazing that you brought that up, by the way, because I was just cursorily mentioning that. I just thought it was a fight. It was weird. We're talking about at Danny's parties. I remember one in particular. We believe it was on Hollywood and Vine, right? Well, outside, when you're out, I'm out smoking a cigarette. There's these two bloody dudes that came back cackling. I mean, their faces were fucked up. And they were like, we just did a Fight Club thing. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're supposed to be in ethics Scientologists.
Shit you see in LA, man. I mean,
not only that, Marcus, but the second gen snobby Scientology crowd that ran with Danny was really kind of terrifying. You're not, I mean, there's nothing wrong. Fine, fighting when you get drunk, I understand that. But I'm talking about something more that we talked about last time about this evil vibe. I was trying to be an inethic Scientologist, and I was horrified by this bratty crowd that would, beat each other up, rape. I mean, all the stuff I'm finding out now. I was around these people, but I couldn't put two and two together as to what was happening.
Yeah,
That's a trip. Marcus, do you mind taking this up? Hey, lady, how are you? Do you mind taking up some questions, as we go that are just good questions and stuff?
No.
This is a great question. So lady asked, why was Kuchar hanging around Scientologists so much without joining? How is he staying under the radar? That's a great question.
Okay. So
it's a really good question.
Well, the thing that is striking to me about Ashton Kutcher is that he did hang around Scientologists. He did hang around with Danny Masterson. He did start an organization and went to Congress about child sex trafficking, and became this self-appointed champion of child sex trafficking and child pornography and whatever.
Which is usually a cover-up. Can I just interject real quick, Marcus? Because I cover that with the Psychopath HD tutor on my channel, because you just reminded me of another question that somebody asked. That can often be a cover to you protect, or you set up a charity if you're a narcissist to, of course, hide the very thing that you yourself might be involved in.
That's right. That you are indeed guilty of.
Yeah. We can't say for sure, Marcus.
Well, okay,
but your point's taken.
Yeah. So I also take into account and here's the interesting thing about therapy for me. I know this might sound off topic, but it's not.
Go for it.
Because in therapy for the last 7.5 years, working with different therapists, looking at what I was, quote, trained to do in Scientology and all of the programs and courses and I'm an HQS, all right, Hubbard qualified Scientologist, and supposedly there's very few of those, and it is a long course. You know, I wanted to do the data series, but the HQS they would let me, because the data series takes a long time. Chris Shelton did the data series. Okay. If you want to see example, and in therapy, you learn, or I've learned, that many of the things that I was, quote, trained to do are complex, mechanisms that are in they are in training. That you learn how to read people in ways. You learn how to communicate in very specific ways, like the military does, so that you have operational capacity to make things happen. And I'm not going to go too into the meta of that, because that can go real deep. But it's almost like an intelligence operation at a certain point.
Yeah.
And so when I look at Ashton Kutcher, back to Ashton, and the timing, when he started that organization, and I don't know when it was founded, but
someone will be able to inform us in the comments or leave it
that would be
afterwards.
great, so that I can
Please do, guys.
continue talking. So whenever that was formed, the timeline from my memory, and that's another thing that's affected by all this stuff that I've learned about therapy, is that my memory is in some ways it's affected in a very, I can remember very specific things, and in other ways there are blockages, memory blockages, that comes from blocking. They call it blocking. So but as you process this stuff, it comes up, and new therapies like EMDR and stuff are shown to actually great success rates in retrieving repressed memories and stuff, and then being able to make sense out of it. Like if you're a trauma victim, such as one of the women that Danny Masterson raped and brutally, then some of these experiences may be blocked.
That's a great point.
Must have been really difficult, and indeed they were, because it took them a while to come forward, right? But so
on the
in
victims
some way,
for sure, Marcus.
they're blocking initially, but then there's blocking. Blocking
course.
continues to go on and on and on, and then so it's an unraveling.
That's part of the trauma
unraveling. That's part of the trauma recovery.
I thought you were talking about Ashton, because you bring up a good point.
I am talking about Ashton because
and we're going to talk about Bijou too, about that.
Okay, so when I look at Ashton with my quote training, all right, and I look at his nonverbals, which is not Scientology. That's not Scientology, but Scientology just happens to do the things that tend to help you, or tend to make those senses more attuned. Okay, it's part of the entrainment, because you yourself are becoming entrained and enslaved, and you're enslaving yourself. So you notice everything about yourself, even your thoughts. You get racing thoughts and psychotic, sociopathy going on, and so you start to look at that in others, and it does actually have this effect. I talk about it in some of my videos. I'm not sure if they're still up. The Gansfield effect is one, but these are all effects that you can start to sort of put pieces together. It's what psychological profilers do, essentially. So when I look at Ashton Kutcher, and I saw him, especially when I saw him in Congress, and his posturing and his nonverbals, something was not right about it.
I don't think it takes a genius to figure that out. That guy comes across as a creep. Marcus, when you're in a cult like you and I,
those are serious things. He's trying to help, right? But it's
we don't know. This is all speculation, by the way. We don't have any evidence that this is true. I'm just talking about being in Hollywood, the creepy vibe we talked about, and the vibes that he puts off. Also, look at who his mate was. That's all circumstantial, but man, he seems like a creep to me without knowing anything more about him. It's just a feeling I get, dude. When I see Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates, for example, I feel like I'm looking at a psychopath. I don't need to know any data about him,
Right.
That's just
someone said, who was it? I don't want to forget her name. She's
also one
regular.
Sure.
She said,
let me know I'll pull her up.
Angela Clark. She said,
right.
trauma recovery is like gaydar.
There you go, Angela. Thank you. And by the way,
but
please.
so to your point, though, you said it would be clear as day to someone, but it might not be clear as day to the general public who haven't
You're right.
experienced these kinds
I
of things,
understand.
where you entrain yourself and devote yourself. Now, even everywhere in the country, there are churches, right? And those churches, in some cases, entrain, a certain way. And they're entraining themselves to believe a certain way, to behave a certain way, whatever. But not everyone is into church anymore. Like, that's a big, I know it's like a bubble that certain people don't want to pop, but it's not like the old days anymore, where it was God. People are believing different things. And even if they believe in God, they find it many times in ways in not the church. Not the church.
Also, I often wondered about this, Marcus, too. Like, since Danny and associates, his family, are second generation Scientologists, I wonder, I'm not a professional, so he'd have to be diagnosed probably. But do we know if he was a sociopath before, or did Scientology make him into what's called a secondary sociopath, like happens to all of us? And then who knows what he and or Bijou would be like if they extracted themselves or had trauma recovery. I have my own personal opinions on Danny and Bijou. I think that they're sociopaths to begin with. I don't think removing Scientology would do a damn thing. But again, it's just the gaydar, as Angela, the word clearing IC, called it. It's a sensitivity towards evil. But it doesn't mean I'm right. I couldn't prove it in a court of law. But for my own survival, Marcus, I don't care. I just go by what I feel.
And then there's also the case with, like, you find child molesters that no one would have ever fucking suspected, man. Like, it's like literally the last person.
I didn't suspect Danny, dude. I didn't suspect Danny. Marcus, I didn't have the predator gaydar when I was in the cult. I was oblivious to all of it because of the compartmentalization and the trauma. And again, can I say something here real quick, brother? Because Carl keeps, we do have trolls, like I said, that are purposely coming into these chats in Aaron's channel, Chris's, all of them, to try to throw people off, get people to doubt. They either aren't informed about the case, which is understandable because it's really complex, and he was convicted by a jury, so he is guilty. Just wanted to clarify that. And at the beginning of the interview, I talked about some links that you can find for more evidence, because there will be more people coming forward. He is without a doubt a serial rapist. But if you're not a troll and you're genuinely curious, maybe, you're definitely entitled to your own opinions, and you won't be blocked unless you try to, divert the conversation, and we think you are Osa. Also, Osa, we know you're listening too. You're always welcome to absorb the information. It's a hell of a lot. There's a trauma that you'll have to go through. It's like experiencing PTSD, especially at that level. But I promise you, I've been through it, and we exes have too. And once you get over that, it's a hell of a lot better on the outside. We have the Aftermath Foundation, which is linked in the description, which will help you out with anything you need on getting out. And I promise you, it's a much better world, and you don't have to have hate in your heart, which Scientology conditions into you. And you don't have to wind up like Danny.
That's right.
It creates sociopathy.
I'm glad that you directed that at potential targets, and because
we're not accusing anybody. I just know they're trolling. I see it.
Well, when I say targets, I'm trying to speak. If we're directing our attention at people that might possibly be watching this, that might be wanting to just get the hell out, I can tell them. I definitely want to speak the language that they understand. The products that are being created right now in the organization are terribly off purpose. Yeah. And you need to examine that. And I always say this: do your doubt condition. But before you do your doubt, get out.
Right.
Before
Carl,
you do your doubt,
there is proof. That's all we're saying. There's plenty of proof. So like I said, I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Yeah, Carl. I don't know either. And I stand behind Doug with everything he said. I Okay, she blocked him. Southern Mama blocked him.
Okay, thanks, Goldie. Carl, like I said, if you're not and you're just asking questions or whatever, apologies.
That would make complete sense especially if we were directing our conversation and our comm to current members and maybe Osa and anyone that
Hey, you
they
never
would
know.
be hitting
They're
us
in the
right now.
same boat we're in, bro.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
any better than they are.
Yeah. We both gave 2 good messages to anyone who might be in that
And
situation.
before he got blocked, this is what he said. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Carl said direct
wow.
testimony is as worthless as hearsay because people all that. To me, that sounds like a distraction tactic from the church.
Yep.
But who knows?
That's
Like I said,
exactly
Carl,
what that
if we're
is.
wrong, sorry.
That's exactly what that is. That's counterintelligence.
This is another great point by Sweet and Salty. 15% of people that have been sexually assaulted come forward. That's a very small percentage because of, one, the stigma, as we talked about in the last interview. And also, this is what makes these gals so brave and why we all take a huge win on this, brother. It's just
Don't say gals or you get more comments about
Oh, right. By the way, I use
These
the
are women.
I use the Aaron excuse. I was born in a cult, so pardon me if I don't know the English language yet. I honestly thought gals meant women, and I got corrected 15 times in the comment section, so I looked it up. I'll try to train myself not to use that word and to use women anymore. These women are unbelievably courageous because of the fair gaming, alleged, we have to say, that they put up with. All the years that it took, and they were part of that.
We have to say that, alleged.
They were part of the 15% that comes forward, and an even smaller percentage that would challenge not only a famous Hollywood actor, and we know how much pedophilia runs in the Hollywood cult itself, and taking on one of the most vile, vindictive, evil cults ever, Scientology, and freaking winning. That's why, last week
this is women in the French culture and the Creole culture are, and in the Native American culture were the pillars of society.
Good to know. Marcus, let's go on to I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Like women have a point whenever they say they're not gals. It's like calling a dude a boy or something.
You're gonna harp on me for that now too?
No,
I honestly didn't
on,
know. I'm still learning the
I'm
English
just
language,
letting you know
brother.
the culture of my peoples.
Fair enough.
Let's see here. There's a bunch. A lot of you guys just love the hell out of us. And maybe give
wait,
us more
start
credit.
at the very top, Marcus. Just go to the very top, and we're going to go down one by one because all of them had something we could riff off of. All of them.
Okay.
Yeah. If you don't mind.
Well,
man.
I got to scroll.
You don't have to search.
Okay, here we were. I love you two guys. Diary of a Ditch Witch. I love that name, by the way. Ditch Witch. I love you two guys together. Straight talking, breeze shooting, insight, infinitely podcastable.
Don't read the.
I'm not.
Thank you, but we'll skip just the meaty.
So I feel for his 9-year-old daughter, Linda Smith, 177. I feel for his 9-year-old daughter. Cannot imagine what the impact of his actions affect her life. Native Intel. This is a guy that I went and checked out his channel, and he's got some really cool.
Could I
DJ
say something
stuff
on that real quick? The one you just skipped over. Regards the child. Yeah. Now this brings us to Bijou, who is his wife, who let out a guttural scream of emotion when she found out that Danny was guilty, which to me either speaks of trauma bonding through Danny and her upbringing. Papa John Phillips, who has a whole sordid history and undoing self. He's covered on the Raised in a Secret Society series a bit. Let's just say Bijou had a very tough upbringing. I believe she was sexually abused at a young age, and she was pimped out in Hollywood, bordering on pornography as a child. So you add in Hollywood, her upbringing with Papa John Phillips. Maybe she's attracted to an abuser and she's a victim herself, or she's a sociopath. I lean towards the latter, and maybe it's not her fault because the trauma and the genetics can create the sociopathy early on. But I don't think that kid is going to get the help that she needs from Bijou. That's just a personal opinion. What do you guys think? That's the whole thing sad all around because the kid didn't do anything. I didn't ask for Scientology to come into my family, but the decisions of your sociopathic parents will have an impact on this. She hasn't even started her life and she has all this shit she's going to have to deal with now, trying to maybe get away from the very people that are supposed to protect her the most. It's just disturbing.
That is very disturbing. Like things are very dark. That's very dark.
But anyways, you can go on to the next one if you want.
Yeah,
That's all I wanted to say
this
on that
guy. No, that was a great insight, really, because it is very, very dark, and so those out there that pray. You pray for everybody. It's only one race. Native Intelligence DJ Mix videos. All right, this guy was sharing our negativity or whatever pessimism. And so he says, always good to chime in on your podcast. I, too, was very pessimistic about how this second trial was going to turn out, as we both were. Pessimism was just emotional armor to self-protect due to how invested I was by watching Aaron's podcast for months and then updates every day. It's crazy and unfortunate when what should be a typical slam dunk is a surprise verdict to me, but so pleasantly surprised. I guess I'm jaded when it comes to celebrities in court. Me too. And, you know, for multiple reasons. But
we've never won one before.
No,
never won one.
Not one publicly, anyways. This was a very needed good win for the people of Earth and victims of Scientology.
Nice.
Danny and many others in Scientology are beyond pure monsters that need to be put down. Lastly, all you had to tell Derek Hart, I don't know who that is.
That was the guy, Marcus, that we kind of wondered.
The guy in the street.
What do you mean he's guilty? But Derek seemed to be sweet, man. He was just he was just genuinely questioning.
He was a genuine. Yeah. So lastly, all you had to tell Derek Hart and others who question is that all the evidence is in the court open files of Scientology when these women reported it, and Scientology acknowledged it but did nothing. Then further evidence with reports to the LAPD and unique details in the patterns of these crimes between women who didn't know each other. There's so much evidence, but if you are not following SPTV
or the trial and what Danny and Aaron have been reporting on, because there's a lot that they cover every day,
you probably know. Well, I think it's interesting that this guy wrote a very long response and is now lumping everyone together because it's all working in concert. So,
well, Marcus, to clarify that, there was allegations because it seemed like how the heck did these women come together? But it wasn't a conspiracy. They found out because one came forward and the other one says, oh my God, that happened to me. I didn't know it happened to somebody else. And this is how it always happens with sexual serial rapists, because more and more people come forward as soon as the first one's. That's a whole nother podcast with Cosby.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, that was in the comments, so we might, be taking that up too. Please continue, sir.
Yeah. You probably know little or just trolling. Luckily, 20 years didn't matter because the facts were legally, professionally stated a while ago. Sad that this justice took so long. Hollywood is already the worst breeding ground for scum, adult rapists, and pedophile behavior.
That's a fact.
Can't agree more. But when you mix it with Scientology, it's a double yikes. Can't agree more. Because it's a criminal cocktail that is duly protected.
And why is that? Because the stars are going to be the ones to program the public. It's unfortunate, but if you see your famous celebrity wearing this, that, and the other thing, they have to be under control to pimp for the Hollywood elite and do what they're fucking told so they can sell to the hypnotized public. That's what it's there for. Hollywood and movies are the most powerful way to get into somebody's subconscious mind. Now you know why.
Yep.
Because, we talked about River Phoenix last time, Marcus, and there's a whole plethora. Britney Spears. We could do a whole separate podcast on the number of celebrities that are in cults and or under mind control and why.
She's from Louisiana,
Who?
Britney.
Yeah, sweet and just absolutely damaged. Hollywood they crushed her, and she still hasn't been able to.
No,
you have to first of all put the compartments of your mind back together again, and then you have to be able to sensibly speak about it.
With people like her that tend to go crazy, they spin them in even more, just like Elvis. They did the same thing with Elvis.
Good point.
And Madonna, and Madonna did okay, but we could go off on tangents on that.
I know, Marcus. Before we continue on with this, just one quick question from Care, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Or not
Care
question.
For JC. Care for JC.
Yeah, I'm
I like
overwhelmingly
JC.
sad over the Danny Masterson situation too, and the number of people that Church of Scientology stopped from coming forward. Can you imagine how many cover-ups they really have? This is only the one that we know about. Scientology has covered up sexual abuse massively, and the only one that was able to put it on TV a little bit, because often those running Hollywood are pedophiles, is Leah Remini, and she was able to squeeze it in on one of the Aftermath episodes, but even then, I imagine that's difficult to do. As Corey Feldman said, the big secret in Hollywood is it's run by pedophiles, an elite group of pedophiles. And that's not a conspiracy. It's just that in order for people to come forward and say that, they're often risking, well, first of all, they're definitely risking their careers and
Yeah.
often their credibility and finally, possibly their lives.
Their lives. Literally. Yeah. Scientology will be gone one day, and it will be thanks to people like yourself, Marcus, Aaron, Mark, Claire, Mike, Leah, and the list goes on and on. Great soldiers for a good and now winnable fight.
Isaac Cappy, that's a whole nother story too.
So I would encourage everybody to go back on that video and check. I went and checked out his DJ mix videos. They're actually pretty good. And then nothing to do with donkey punches.
Excellent.
Or fight clubs.
That's a perfect segue, Marcus. Let me show people what donkey punch means because we keep throwing that word up, and I'm going to show you another scary video. So this is definitely a trigger warning. If you are triggered in any way by disgusting stuff and you don't feel like you can take it, please tune out for about the next 5 minutes. I'm going to show you the definition of donkey punch. And I'm going to show you a video of Danny talking about that with Kevin Pollak, and then we'll be back in about 5 minutes. So when you see the video wrap down, that would be a good time to start listening again. Just want to warn you guys. Okay, so hang on, Marcus, while I pull this thing up here. So I need to remove yours. Present. Hey, Cynthia and Dog, how are you?
Guest.
Perfect intermission. What's up, cutie pie? Can you bring the dog to the camera?
You want me to hold her?
Yeah, I know, Marcus, you don't have a high ARC for her. Don't say that. Look at that face. Guys, she's 17 and she's blind. And she is adorable. Brother, I know the hell that
she's
she
like,
put you
why
through.
the hell
She's just
am I
looking
on this,
sweet,
dude?
but I know. Pretend
she
to like
knows
her.
who I am. She can't see a damn thing, but she knows who's holding her. She's like,
okay.
Why?
Well, we're gonna need a puppy as we go over this definition here. So again, trigger warning, guys. So
I need a puppy.
This is what donkey
punch
punch means
right now.
This is what donkey punch means. The donkey punch is a relatively simple maneuver. When engaged in anal sex from behind, simply punch your partner in the back of the neck so that the sphincter clenches up. Note, the element of surprise adds a great deal of intensity to the clench, so try to disguise from your partner the fact that a donkey punch is imminent. Next definition. A young woman in the throes of passion accidentally died. Oh, that's a sentence. There is one other one I wanted to read. Donkey punch, verb. Try word clearing this in Scientology, Marcus. To punch someone in the back of the head during orgasm when having sex doggy style. Donkey punch. While in the doggy style position, right before you come, pull out and insert it in her butt while punching her in the back of the head. If she passes out, the anal construction can be absolutely heavenly. So that's enough on that. That's absolutely disgusting. So here's the video of Danny being confronted by Kevin Pollak, and also typical of a narcissist or a sociopath, which is why I call him such, is absolutely not only oblivious of what they're saying on national television and how they're coming across, but actually relishing in it.
Speaking of which, I mentioned the donkey punch.
Oh, yeah.
How does that become your DJ name?
name?
Just because you can't believe people are going to have to say it?
Yeah. Just because it was like, oh, I wonder if we can get this in the New York Times. And we did. And it would just, I started DJing in 97, 98. And you don't be like DJ Danny Masterson. That just sounds not good. So so you sort of all come up with something that's kind of funny.
Right.
And mine was DJ Donkey Punch, which is a great name. But this is also kind of like before the world of the internet and where the Facebooks and the Twitter and the whole thing, where everybody knows what everything means.
Right. You can't instantly
So for years,
nobody
you know, it'd be like, and Danny Masterson, aka DJ Donkey Punch,
ex-cons,
playing, this is in like the Wall Street Journal or something.
Notice is that only ex-cons would know about that.
Yeah.
Then I started doing the little asterisks in the donkey, like P, spot, and C, whatever it was. And so then I had to change it.
So you're saying for a
DJ
while.
Mom Jeans.
For a while.
Well, then I went to Donkey Pizzle. But I did that only when Puffy became P. Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
So I also announced my creative name change.
Did you go to Just a Symbol at one point?
No.
That would have been fun.
That would have been awesome.
That's next.
I should have gone to Print, DJ Print.
That's next. So for a while, only ex-cons knew why you named yourself DJ Donkey Punch.
Pretty much, yeah.
The instant looking up, instant search now that it does exist, it's so funny because my understanding too is that it was very popular among the prison world, this phrase, Donkey Punch. But when you go online, it's all heterosexual, everything's fine. This is what happens to your girlfriend or sexy lady partner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when I had the Donkey Punch, it was a shot to the ribs.
Really?
That made the cough to release the back muscles. But then I think it became back of the head where you knock somebody out or something.
What on earth is funny about that? Why is Kevin laughing? It's just there's nothing funny about that, dude.
And that's not the Donkey Punch I know.
That's not the one you condone.
No, because that's violent.
I sincerely hope that our uninformed listeners and viewers have access to Google as they're listening
right
to
now.
this.
You mean
Right now,
to pull up the visuals?
Because if they don't know, if they're unfamiliar, I want them to make sure they pause whatever they're doing right now, Google it, and then come back.
Yeah,
because I don't want them to be.
See, Scientologist.
You know what? You just remind.
No, but thank God he said that. Because he's trying to probably call them out a little bit uncomfortable with what they're freaking talking about here. And it even gets worse.
Hit me of my first question that I've leapt frog over. Josh standing by. The question that I want you to think about while we show this clip is what it was like to work with the Sam Levine.
What?
Roll clip, please.
No.
Yes. Those of you just listening.
Are you tired of lackadaisical lawyers sitting behind their cushy desks making faulty promises? Well, I don't even have a desk because I'm too busy to sit. I'm too busy working for you. Hello.
That's my favorite right there.
I'm Morris, the executioner Rodriguez, divorce lawyer, and I will rape your spouse.
What the fuck?
Financially.
You didn't let it finish, man. I know.
Financially.
I mean, talk about foretelling. This is amazing. But Marcus, just let it go to the very end because obviously he says something different right at the very end.
House.
Pull back a little.
Financially.
Yeah,
Marcus,
but I mean, I reacted as I reacted. I'm sorry.
Oh, totally. It's all good. Here we go again, bro.
Well, I don't even have a desk because I'm too busy to sit. I'm too busy working for you. Hello.
That's my favorite right there.
I'm Morris, the executioner Rodriguez, divorce lawyer, and I will rape your spouse. Financially.
Jesus. Sorry, guys. I mean, what the hell? That was just.
Well, to work in those jokes, they're like inside jokes, right? And even in that first clip that you played, he's talking about a group of people who came up with DJ names. Well, his name was Donkey Punch. Aaron Larson's name was Fight Fellas.
Right. All kind of inside.
I bet you Aaron Larson is under a rock right now, hiding like a motherfucker under a rock.
Great point. I bet you a lot of them, Ashton's hiding under a rock. He's certainly not going to come forward and say anything. But more people are coming forward. In fact, like I said, please check out the video Aaron Smith-Levin did because Lindsay Lohan recounts a time when she and 7 other people or something were all screaming about Danny roofing their ass. So there's definitely going to be more coming forward.
That's horrible, Lindsay.
All right, man. Sorry to sidetrack with that. If you're just tuning back, that's the end of the trigger warning. We'll let you know if anything else comes up, but please continue on, sir, with the.
All right, we're there's no way we're going to get anywhere.
Nah. Just the first few. We're already an hour deep, so we won't read everything, but we can riff like we have been.
Okay, DJ. All right, so Aussie Truth Seeker. Awesome news, guys. What a relief for the victims after such a long, drawn-out case. Sorry I missed the live. I'm going to watch the replay now. Will be interesting to hear your thoughts. Be well.
Are you sure you have that on the top? Because, bro, there was so many. I read the first 10 and I was like, we'll be able to do 2 hours of podcasting on that. So I didn't want to hear just the positive feedback, but the meat of the stuff.
Well, that's why I was moving around and you said, well,
sure.
one
My
by
bad.
one.
My bad then, because it's different what you have pulled up. Just grab whatever you feel like it.
Yeah. The ones with a lot of replies are usually good. I mean, that's how it works for me. I look for the.
Let me pull this thing up, dude, because I'm telling you, right at the beginning, there's just plenty. Stand by.
Marcus Coloma. Here's a good one. Marcus Coloma was on General Hospital for a long time too. I forgot about that.
Right.
Always knew I didn't like him. Now I know why.
I don't know if Marcus is a bad guy or not. Do you know anything about him? You sold Scientology shit to him, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we got him on the bridge.
What do you mean? Really?
Oh yeah. He did Point Pleasant. Now it's coming back. Point Pleasant.
Right.
He did Point Pleasant, and Iris regged him for his clear package.
Please explain who Iris is, because we have a lot of new people. If you throw out the
Iris
names,
Sandman was the auditor at Mission of Melrose, and Ventura Mission of Buenaventura.
Okay.
Dianetics Center. So yeah, he was on General Hospital too. Someone always asked about Macaulay Culkin, and no, he never had anything to do with it.
Thank God. And there's a whole story that Marcus, we can't segue off that, man, but you know a lot about Macaulay Culkin and Rachel Miner, who was married to, and they both got emancipated earlier. And again, those are victims of the Hollywood pedophile system, man. Macaulay Culkin is like the typical. I feel so bad for these people. I don't know if Rachel's still acting. Probably not, right, Marcus? I believe, unfortunately.
No, she does panels. She does do panels with the supernatural people. Because she was on Supernatural. She played a demon, I think, or an angel. One of them.
That's Marcus Coloma, by the way, guys.
Yeah, that's Marcus, and he has a brother named Travis. And all four of us together it was total trip.
That's true. You guys do.
And they're twins. Like they're not twins, but they look a lot alike. They're kind of like me and Travis. We could pass for twins. So here's one. Get Down with Mojo 6 days ago.
That's a cool name.
Dude, you got to stop interrupting. Marcus literally never got more.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking
words out of his mouth before you cut him off. ... Like at least 10 times before I had to stop watching.
This is why I wanted to prepare the questions.
Which is unfortunate because I know your heart is in the right place. ... But damn, is it frustrating as a listener? ...
Thank you.
Sorry for the negative feedback. But I think you need to listen back and hear what we hear. And I chimed in. I said, I think that's fair, but it's also my bad for not posting videos on my channel and bumming around on Doug's.
No, dude, it was totally my fault. Seriously. But I didn't want to take up questions of that. I wanted to take up the questions where we can jump off into our history with these people. Yeah. The biggest comment, every other comment, was stop interrupting Marcus. I get it. I was excited, but I'm not. Yeah. I took the notes, and I'm hopefully not doing it this time. But Marcus,
and here's not gals, they are women.
Yeah, again.
And I put super earlier. Women. Boom, boom.
Brother, I really want to pull up the relevant questions here, though, man.
Okay.
And at least on my end, I'm
at the bottom. So
okay, I'm gonna pull it up and share it.
Yep. I just went through all the top comments.
Okay, really? Let me validate that to confirm.
Sure. We'll send it to Qual.
Okay, exactly. So let me remove that, and then I'll share this one, and then I'll read them off, brother, and you can just riff on whatever pops into your head. And then we have plenty of questions to take up too that are relevant to this, but this is good so far. Okay, so, well, can I say one? Well, we'll save that towards the end of the stream. So what am I trying to share here? Okay, Danny Masterson and his Scientology celebrity clique. Plus, we can see this a hell of a lot better. I don't know why it's on that. Went to small screen mode. Maybe you didn't have it on the right thing. Again?
I have a portrait style. I have two portrait monitors and one.
Do these look the same to you, Marcus? Justice for Jane's never been so damn interested in the shenanigans. After reading the daily testimony from Bro,
are you sorting by newest or top comments?
Top. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Top comments. It seems a good number of people don't realize that DM did not deny any of it. Justice for James. Yeah. That's
Right.
top
Okay.
comments.
I think it is the same. All right.
But if you go to newest first, that's where you'll find more of probably the ones that are like, shut the fuck
Shut
up.
the fuck up. Why am I listening to this? God damn it. Again, Jesus, I'm so sorry about that.
It's funny to me. Here's one. L29289. Let Marcus talk too.
How about this one, bro? Always good to chime in on your podcast. We already covered that one about the pessimism. That's interesting. I just went through these last night, and there seemed to be some more that were towards the top that we're gonna jump off of. Let's see.
Oh, here's one. Yeah, I'm new to this channel. Laura, drink wine. Drink wine. Yeah, absolutely. In vino veritas.
Now we
Laura,
don't want to encourage drug use. No.
In vino veritas, with wine comes truth. If you want, you can share my screen or I can just read it.
Sure, I'll share your screen, bro.
All right. So we got, I'm new to this channel, so I'm not familiar with your chemistry together, but I did want to just point out, I noticed when Doug asked Marcus to elaborate on something and Marcus's cadence is slower than Doug's, and Doug tends to not let Marcus finish. I'm only
Marcus, we really
in.
don't need to cover any of those because we've covered it incessantly. I totally get it. I absolutely was talking over you. I just wanted to talk about questions that are like relevant. So maybe we'll just jump in from the, because that's, yeah, it doesn't go anywhere.
Most relevant would be newest first. So, right? I mean,
no, it was actually
the top comments.
It was actually the top. But while you're scrolling through, I'm going to take some questions or whatever.
Sure.
What do you guys want to know too? Because like, you know, me and Marcus sold to these celebrities around, 2005-ish when all the shit was going down. And these were, Jordan and Alana were in my acting class when they bothered to show up. And, I ran with this freaking crew, having no idea that any of this stuff was going on. I looked up to these people. I wanted to be like Ashton Marcus. I wanted to be like fucking Danny.
Jesus Christ.
God.
Yeah.
Thank God it didn't
I got
turn out
one
that way. Please go ahead.
Amy Shu 1151. Amy Shu is an old subscriber from the Walk World days. So
I remember Amy. It's good to see you, Amy, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to bring this one up because she brings up the interview. She subscribed after I did the interview with Aaron. Marcus, it appears to me how well and quote yourself you've become since I first became aware of you in an interview where you contemplated an orange in your hand the entire interview.
I remember.
I actually peeled the orange eventually and ate it. But I felt as if you were really struggling back then. I was struggling or not. I was drawn to you and your story, and it makes me smile to see how well you seem to be doing these days. Right on. May you continue to look forward to each day. Thank you very much. Thank you, Amy. That means a lot. It's
here's a question which I
community
can jump all over.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to preface any negative talk, even towards Danny. Predators definitely have to be dealt with. And I got to tell you, I'd be lying if I didn't say I personally am, I don't know if happy is the right word, but let's just say I feel justice was served and I wouldn't want to be Danny because it sounds absolutely terrifying. I mean, could you imagine Marcus going from his arrogant, snobby, no best, getting away with this for 30 years, thinking up till the very end that there's no way in hell he's going to get caught. And his life has been transformed in a way that I almost wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So I don't hate these people. A lot of us are victims of Scientology, but so I just
don't hate. Period.
When I talk about Jordan Masterson, and I'm just giving you my personal opinion, I just wanted to preface it with that because Jordan grew up in the cult. His dad, which was on Aaron's show today, it's an excellent interview. Please check it out if you haven't already. And then also Tony did a really good interview with Joe, the stepfather. And this is a man who lost his kids, Jordan and Alana, and he loves them. And who's to say what they'd be like if they weren't forced by the cult to side with Carol Masterson, the mother, and push Joe to the side and make his life a living hell when all he did was question why Scientology wasn't working. Marcus, he reminded me a lot when I was listening to that interview this morning about he was a hardcore Scientologist. He got up all the way up close to the top of the bridge, class 5, and I believe he was a class 5 auditor or something.
Jordan did?
No, his father, Joe,
Oh,
the
okay.
stepfather. He was booted out of the family because he was having doubts about Scientology. And
As a class 5?
And let's just say that Carol and that side of the family turned on him, left him out dry.
I bet.
And those are his own freaking kids.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, of course.
The whole thing's disturbing.
That's
I found
fucked.
Jordan Masterson to be.
You don't want to be a class 5, and be like in doubt.
Yeah. I found Jordan Masterson to be very similar to Danny. I couldn't tell if he was mimicking him, but he was always trying to take on the beingness of Danny, let's say, in class. And I did not like him at all. The only person I liked, Marcus, in that crew was my best friend who died at 28 in a car accident. Not least because of the trauma of trying to get out of the freaking cold. And that was Nick Lashaway, RIP. But me and Nick would always hang out at the acting class. Laura Prepon was in there. She's the red hair chick on the 70s show. She was a Scientologist. Jordan and Alana and other people were in there. And we would just stand to the side and watch all these people. Even when we were in Scientology, I still hated most of these people, man. Not hated, but just like they were just really snobby. Jordan, being like that as well. And Laura was the same way. If she a lot of people defend her and she seems to have this exuberant, outgoing personality. Yeah, so did Danny, right? But behind the scenes, I don't have any evidence. I just did scene work with her. I went over to her house. She was dating Chris Masterson at the time, by the way, guys. So I think personally she slithered away out of Scientology just in the last couple of years when Danny started to catch heat because she didn't want to put herself in the position of being called forward to testify. She probably wanted to distance herself because, she's very close to Chris, who was
Hell,
his
I
brother.
wanted to distance myself, and all I did was sell him some fucking ethics books.
Who's interrupting now, man? You cut my call.
That's a comment.
So anyways,
Lord have mercy.
I just forgot what I was saying. So anyways, well, there you go. Yeah, I didn't find them to be very pleasant people. Let's just put it that way to answer that question. Did you have another one you want to take up here?
Yeah, this one is Ross Murray, 6849. Marcus at 2644 says they're like this motherfucker must be crazy, so we ain't fucking with him.
Who? DM.
I'm not sure who I was talking about. He has the timestamp, and you can click it.
Okay.
But it says, I'm not surprised Marcus found that an effective survival strategy in dangerous neighborhoods. This is from when we were talking about Compton and stuff.
Right.
He said, and this is the funny part, this guy's a comedian. He says, I found it an effective survival strategy too when I was working in government bureaucracies.
Oh, that makes sense. And
same shit as cult.
Same as at Hollywood, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gonna continue.
Did you ever?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go there.
I know what you were gonna say, you bastard. All right, here's a question. Thank you, Flower.
Okay.
Question: what's the connection with Billy Baldwin? That's a great question. Isn't he like? They're not related in any way, are they, guys? I know that Billy Baldwin's been shown up to the court a lot to support him. Of course, they're friends. Were they cousins or any kind of relation there? I don't know. Flower, do you have any intel on that, Marcus, about Billy Baldwin? He was supporting him the whole time, and he's hanging out.
Is that
at their
Alec
house
Baldwin, one of the Baldwin brothers?
Yeah, correct.
No, I closest I ever got to Billy Baldwin was my ex-wife's sister used to be. He was in Kill Bill. He's an A-B lister. God, what's his name?
Kill Bill.
Hold on.
The Scientologist that you're talking about?
No, he's actually very anti. But let's see, Kill Bill. He was the guy that killed the girl in the trailer. Sorry if I'm spoiling that. It's an old movie, but Kill Bill Volume 2. He's a God. I can't remember why.
Who cares? What's the point?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Care. Yes, it does.
Not to make the point. We don't need to know the actor. Oh, for Billy Baldwin, you mean?
Yeah. The closest like connection I would have had to Billy Baldwin
or something
would be that actor, whatever his name was. He was one of the 4 that David Carradine trained, and he
wasn't David Carradine a Scientologist?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's the closest I would
got
be related, not by connections wise.
Got it. 6 degrees of sociopathic Scientologist is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It really is like that, bro, because it's a small world. Now I know what
Very
you're saying.
small.
Carradine. Didn't
Mhm.
Carradine die in a skiing accident, or was that or he was hanging in Mexico? He went out a really bad way,
They
man,
said, oh, it was
which looked really questionable.
Michael Madsen was who I was thinking of.
Who's
Michael
not a
Madsen.
Scientologist.
No,
Okay,
he's not.
Madsen. I know who that is.
And he hates Scientology.
Good.
But my ex-wife's sister was working for him when I was living out there, and when I was dating my ex-wife before we got married.
Mhm.
And so he was working with David Carradine as part of why he hated Scientology, apparently. And but Michael Madsen knows the Baldwin brothers, so there you
I
go.
see. Again, 6 degrees, and that brings us back to the question why Ashton or Michael Madsen perhaps wasn't sucked into Scientology. You know what I saw a lot, bro? In the acting class, we talked about this last time. They would use the Scientologists for their acting connection.
Which made me think of something.
Go ahead.
Me and Travis were walking down Melrose selling Dianetics books every fucking day in Monica or whoever.
Sorry to hear that, man.
And there's this Mexican restaurant, and every day at this time, during this time, this is a bad point for this man.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Judd Nelson. And
oh, I love Breakfast Club, yo.
Yeah, man. So like,
tell me you didn't sell to Judd Nelson, dude.
Oh, no, but we visited with him all the time. We'd go and have coffee. Yeah, because he knew we were Scientology. We did try to sell him a Dianetics. He'd be like, no, man, I'm not going to buy that fucking shit. But you can sit down and have a drink with me.
Really?
And we would sit just to talk. And eventually we got kind of bored because like he was a DB.
Right. Because he was not
he was a DB. Degraded being. He's like, you know, he's open and just chilling on Melrose. And like, he's like, yeah. It got to a point to where he'd be like, yeah, go sell your books. All right.
Do your thing, guys.
Do your thing. Whatever.
That's funny. If he really knew, and back then what you were involved in, maybe he would have tried to stop you or something.
Well, no, he did. That's what I'm saying, though, is that like when we tried to sell him book, and I tried by myself, Travis tried by himself, Monica tried to sell him, he would talk to us, you know?
Because he thought you were, maybe he felt sorry for you a little bit too, trying to show you some love in the outside world. You know,
I think the guy's pretty smart, because he, you know, he was drinking a lot, but he's still pretty bright. Drinking doesn't, you know, it doesn't indicate that you're dumb. It just means that you're drinking. But and it can inhibit, what do you call it? It's a inhibitor of you know, it's an inhibiting drug, or it lowers inhibitions. There
you go.
So he was very open and he, you know, he was kind of feeling, you know, the person out. Like he's like, you know, what are you doing? You know, why do you want to sell me this book?
He knew you were a Scientologist somehow,
yes,
just because of the way you approached him and stuff.
He was hanging. He must have lived nearby. Or was living nearby, because every day he would walk to that damn restaurant, the little Mexican restaurant, and he would pay for the little trio of guys to play for him, just for, you know, I guess he had the money and he wanted to have just, you know, a mariachi band playing. And sometimes he'd go out there and just sit for 4 or 5 hours in the morning and day drink. And I don't know why that memory came up. That's been happening, of the memories surfacing.
A lot here, just last week, right? Because of just the shocking. We never.
I've had a lot of really crazy news, you know, and a lot of things going on. A documentary and the city of New Orleans honoring me and my brother for our album that we did with Rick, and them licensing it for the entire state, and then reconnecting with my Creole culture. Like it's very emotional. I'm very emotional right now.
I understand. And by the way, congratulations on freaking winning in life. You deserve a second half that's a little less dramatic.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Deviant Outcast. What's up, brother? I've heard the Mastersons referred to as a family with, quote, all sorts of fucked up shit. What's that all about? What's the issue? Well, besides Scientology and the fact that, you know, Danny's most likely a sociopath run by a narcissistic mother, Carol, other than that, they're fine. What are you talking about? No, I mean, this is the thing, man. This is why it's such a trip learning about sociopathy, and cults and mind control getting out. Because when I remember Carol, she seemed to me to be the narcissistic mother that made Danny and the kids. That's not an excuse for him, but I know what it's like growing up with a narcissistic mother. I became a secondary sociopath myself, and sort of taking some responsibility or snapping out of that spell. You can do all sorts of things that you're not proud of, man. I'm still trying to make up the damage to this day, just for being a piece of shit below my awareness. That's why there's always a piece of me, brother, where I don't want to say, oh, they're all evil and all that necessarily, because you never know what they've been through and what actually created them. And I also was no better because I was in the same boat, just like you, dude. You know, so there's always a little bit of empathy, no matter how much
wrong someone's done. I mean,
yeah,
the
maybe that's not even right. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I can relate from my stepfather, right? Like, I mean, he is a classic per, you know, what I've been disclosing in therapy. Like, he is a sociopath and a psychopath and a serial abuser and rapist. And, you know, he has attempted to, he's had multiple aggravated assaults, but he's gotten away with it all because it's never been reported. It's just like these victims that don't come forward.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in high school,
you couldn't come forward. It would have been your life, your ass.
I didn't even know that they were reporting it. And a cop shows up at the house and I'm like, you know, they're like, is he abusing you? Oh, no, I don't want to.
And you had to say no. Exactly, man.
So, you know, because
sorry, bro.
The extremeness, the extreme, there's a degree. It's like amount of pressure that people are under, that they're victims, right? And depending on how extreme their abuser is, like, you can really keep loose. I mean, you can really keep tight lips because they know that if they've seen you go from 0 to 10, but then you kick it up another 30 or 40 or 50 and make it a 100-point scale, then people will really be compressed by that anxiety and fear and fear for their life even.
Yeah. That's why only 15% come forward.
Right.
That's exactly why. Marcus, this might be a good time to segue into, so what does this mean? What's going to happen to Scientology? What's going to happen in the civil trial? Will there be other people coming forward? I want to hear your speculation in a second, brother, but just to lay out the 4 main points. Actually, keep people entertained for 1 second. I dropped my freaking lighter earlier and I had to grab it, man. So say something to people, but I have something to cover.
I will.
Okay, thank you, man.
Okay.
Maybe grab a comment or something.
I got it covered. So as we segue towards the end of the stream here, there's going to be a song off of an album that I produced with Rick G. Nelson and my cousin Matthew Moore, who I didn't find out was my cousin until middle of the record. And speaking to what Doug was saying, keeping it on topic, what's the point of all this? What's the purpose? What does it all mean at the end of it? Does it mean that we will have something does it mean that we'll be eliminating from our society these sorts of things? Probably not. It means that the way that I see it, it's a continuing thing over time. It just, people do this. You can't really explain it.
I think if we cut the head of the snake off at the top, that would allow a lot of justice and a lot of this trauma to trickle down. Because just like in a
Hydra,
what's that?
It's a 7-headed snake.
Oh, right.
Just grows another one back.
But if it comes from the top, which I believe it does, then it's going to perpetuate a cycle that's unbreakable, because it's just like a cult. You know, we're not all psychopaths, but we're made into that because we have to conform to the rules of a guy who wrote a sci-fi book, a sociopath, a psychopath, and made us all believe it. So all you got to do is just break the spell, and the trauma's over. Or you can circle forever trying to figure out the problem while the psychopath at the top keeps manipulating everybody. But anyways, back to, so what happens now? So there's a couple of options that will determine how big of a, will Scientology be pulled into this or not? So there's the third Jane Doe who didn't get a conviction. Part of that might have been because she was in a relationship with him, but she wasn't able to get a conviction despite definitely being victimized. Thank God it didn't matter because they got 2 of the 3, but they do have the option to retry her. try her. And apparently, from what I've been hearing, they may or may not decide to do that. But if more ladies, women come forward, then, you know, this 30 years to life is just the beginning, Marcus. I mean, there's a good chance that if
he'll
enough
spend the
people
rest of
come
his life
forward
in prison.
Yeah, this is only the beginning, I think. Now we have a civil case coming up, and I want to show you a quick, because I asked Tony Ortega a few months ago during the first trial, what's the possibilities with the civil case, because I know everybody's getting excited about that. But according to him, and I think he's right, not much is going to happen with that. They're going to buy out at the last minute. So let me throw Tony on here quick as we answer that question.
Tony.
All these videos can be found on the channel, by the way. Anyways, so here we go.
Not only would she be testifying to a crime committed by Scientology, but one that she had taken part in.
Exactly.
And so the DA assured them that it was past statute, but he offered immunity anyway.
So here we
go. Doug, we were so excited. Our jaws had dropped. All the reporters like, wow.
Yeah, we're going to finally get to see.
And then the judge pulled the rug out from under. She said,
before we get into him answering the question, what we were talking about was Lisa Marie Presley. There was excitement of her coming forward, you know, in the civil trial. Again, it probably wouldn't have mattered because they're going to settle. But isn't it interesting that she just, I'm not saying Scientology had anything to do with that. Who the hell knows? But I also know not to put anything past them. So it's all speculation.
my court, because that's civil case.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with Danny's criminal case. And she had a point, but it was so disappointing. We were this close to testimony like that coming into an official court. Now, whether that, you know, people have asked me, well, isn't it great for the civil case? It is. However, I seriously doubt there's going to be a trial in the civil case. You know,
what do you mean by that? What do you mean?
Well, you know how Miscavige is. What they'll do is they'll throw everything they possibly can at that civil lawsuit.
Yeah.
They've already said that the next thing they already tried the arbitration thing, and that got overturned by the appellate court. So the next thing they say they're going to do is an anti-slap. An anti-slap motion stops everything for like a year. So they're going to keep throwing stuff at the case. And you know, the Laura DiCrescenzo case is a perfect model.
Mm-hmm.
They made her. She had to go through 2 different motions for summary judgment. That's like a full-blown mini trial, right? And she won both of those. And they went to the U.S. Supreme Court trying to fight, giving her records. I mean, that poor woman, she went through 9 years of garbage. They were finally a few days from trial, and they had subpoenaed Miscavige to be in it, and he wrote a check and made it go away. That's what he does.
They always wait till the last minute. You know, Tony, it's the playbook. They drag it out. They have the money. And then didn't they do that with Debbie Cook as well? You know,
Debbie Cook had done like 2 hours of testimony.
And they're like,
and it was such a disaster. They paid her to end the lawsuit they had filed.
That's
how panicked they were. Yeah.
That's what they
Yep.
That is
and they couldn't
amazing.
do that with Masterson. They couldn't just settle it. And so they had to endure 5 weeks of testimony about how they treat people.
Goddamn.
More than that, we're just talking about the first trial. How they had to do it twice. Why do you think Scientology didn't disconnect from Danny, throw him under the bus, and have nothing to do with it? That can be checked out on the other video, guys. I just wanted to make that point. So yeah, I mean, everybody's getting all excited, myself included, about the civil trial. At least the women can get paid and they can get compensated for what they've been through. They're still going to be traumatized for life and have to heal. What he did was like, you can't make up the damage, but they're going to write him a fat check to make this go away right before. And like Tony said, they're going to drag this out with the anti-slap and everything else, which is disgusting. But this is how they handle the court cases, guys. This is how they get away with it. And why this is so important, because finally we got to hear testimony. They weren't able to write a check and silence these people, despite Danny writing a check to one of the ladies too. You know what I mean? It's just amazing that Marcus, not only that it got this far and they won, but this is the first time, unprecedented, I think, that Scientology, even though they weren't on trial, they've never been allowed to be brought in as to why the women were gaslit, why this, why that. So the fact that this Judge Almeida actually what she said is, we're going to let enough testimony in. We don't want to focus on Scientology. They're not on trial, but we want to let enough testimony in so you'll understand. So you'll understand why it took them 20 years, you know, or thereabouts to.
Yeah,
and then the LAPD corruption and all that you have to deal with this evil cult, and they actually pull it off. And that's going to set a precedent. That's in the law books now, so that going forward, things
and
can
there's
happen.
also a convicted rapist who came like from Scientology and can Scientology has to take a lot of that responsibility for their culture, their cult.
Good point. They'll probably make changes, right, bro?
Yeah.
Just to appease the PR line.
Let's
Just to appease, just to prevent themselves from having a similar situation.
I mean, I'm sure
Can I ask
Tom
you to
Cruise is going to be a fucking problem.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. What do you think Tom Cruise would have been told and what the party line would have been to the celebrities? I'm not talking about Scientologists in general. If you just had to speculate your time on staff or whatever, how do you think this getting to Tom Cruise's ears, how do you think Miscavige would handle that? Would he get Tom on the phone and say, he's an SP, we're going to declare him? How would they handle the celebrities internally when there's a flap like this? How would you handle it and shit?
There's an enemy line.
Right. Can you explain that, please?
Well, Tom would understand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dave would call. I mean, this is just a speculative thing, but you call him and say, "Hey, look, there's an enemy line that we got to take care of, and here's what we need from you. We need you to stay off the internet. We need you to, stay away from LA or stay away from wherever the shit's happening." Wherever he can be exposed to the information they want to stay away from. And that's real. Like if you got an enemy line and they're clearing it for you with a celebrity, it's not too unlike how the military does things. Okay. It's all Sea Org military, quasi-military. Let's play army
mixed
man.
with the mafia.
Yeah.
And military intelligence mixed
control.
with the mafia, mind control, and also Hollywood.
Yeah. So you got an enemy line, which, to explain what that is, it's just something that is going to really, this is not the Scientology definition, but this is the real definition of what an enemy line is that when you've got a product, which would be in, like, say, Tom Cruise, he's a product. And
he is literally a product.
Right. And there's a special word for certain types of products, but
terminal?
No, he would be like a
upstat.
There's a hierarchy of products is what it is all it amounts to. And he's way up. He's number one, Top Gun. So, on that enemy line, so the enemy line of the church is anything that would jeopardize that product's viability. And Tom Cruise is a product. Tom Cruise sells movies. Tom Cruise makes money. Tom Cruise gives donations. Tom Cruise sells his property and gives the money to the church, which is a church. I will
call it a cult, but people, Marcus included, are entitled
legally
to say whatever they want to say.
It's a church.
Yeah.
The United States government.
That doesn't mean anything to me. I know there are destructive cults.
Hey,
so
it don't mean
what it is.
It don't really mean much to me either. But I'm just saying, the United States government, under which we fall under the jurisdiction of, recognizes the Church of Scientology as a church.
Yeah, because they got bribed by blackmailing.
And these
the
anti-slap things that Tony was talking about, that is one of the protections. It's how all the Catholic priests got away with jerking off the little boys.
You know what you just said about the great point, and you know what you just said about the anti-slap. You know what they're claiming in the civil suit is they're trying to apply, Marcus, the anti-slap to the women. They're saying that this big organism. By the way, anti-slap, my friends, if you don't know, I'm no expert or whatever, but it's a motion that prevents you from being bullied by the big corporations. So Scientology obviously would be the big corporation bullying, harassing, gaslighting, killing these gals' pets, and just making their life a nightmare, allegedly. It's not allegedly, but I just have to say that or whatever. Of course, they were fair game. So what I'm saying is the Scientology has tried to apply the anti-slap to the women that came forward in the civil suit, saying that they're the ones being bullied.
Yeah. And there's multiple
but from their
types
perspective,
of slaps,
they would actually feel that way. That's really how the mind control works. You have to understand, my friends, like, all of these people that are Scientologists are not evil. We have our reality twisted, which me and Marcus have gone into in depth. And on his channel, he breaks this down, how our reality is twisted. So my parents, by disconnecting from me, are doing something loving from the perspective of Scientology, because to have a suppressive person in their life is bad. And they always leave the door open for me to fix myself via Scientology and get back in. To them, after we have our reality shifted, that's the loving, correct thing to do. But we're not seeing the process of the slow mind control that slowly twists your actual love, your good qualities, and they cipher them back and use them against you and your family. So these people aren't being mean. They genuinely believe what they're doing right, but they're in trance logic, not critically thinking.
Yeah, most Scientologists aren't bad people, just like most Catholics aren't bad people, you know, and most Baptists
can
are
act
not bad people. They just do bad things. Hey, God forbid we're human and we do fucked up shit. You know, everybody does fucked up shit. But like when you start doing real fucked up shit, and no one around you holds you accountable, then and you start to do it more and more and more. And I mean, that's a triggering subject for me because of my stepfather, because he got away with probably murder. And, you know, he almost got away with infanticide. So
really?
Yeah. So, sorry, it is like I said,
I'm
right
sorry
now is
too,
an emotional
bro.
time.
I completely understand, man. Vent away.
Yeah, it is. That's essentially what I'm doing.
It's okay, man. That's what we're here for. Dude. That's what we're doing.
What was it that you were saying that did that to me just now?
The whole subject that we're talking about and all the triggering that's been going on with me and you the last week and a half since this freaking verdict.
Like it's no wonder that last week, you know, it was so
That's
intense.
what I was trying to say. I'm so sorry for interrupting you, man. I'm so sorry for talking over you and to the audience, but I was so fucking electrified. I was embarrassed watching that back. I couldn't I thought we were just having a conversation, but I was so amped and a lot of emotions going on, man.
Yeah.
And you're right, Brandy. They won't make any they will make changes and not change a dang thing. That's what all the cults do, don't they? Didn't the JWs get called out?
Including the US government.
Well, that's the biggest cult of all. One cult to rule them all. Question: what is the Lily thing that they didn't want to bring up at the trial? I don't have any idea what that is. Marcus, do you know what they're talking about?
Lily? No, I have no idea about that.
Guys, could you please drop a comment after this video is over and explain what that is, if you wouldn't mind, Rocky Road, because I'd like to know more about that too. I'm oblivious. So what were we talking about before?
Enemy lines and what would happen, you know, with Tom, like how would Tom be handled by?
So do you think Dave would get on the phone? Do you think do you think they're going to distance? How are they going to handle?
They make it feel all top secret agency. All right. So like whenever Marcus Coloma was being registered for his clear package.
By you or by somebody else, the clear package?
It was me, Monica, Travis, and
you just
Chris Baumgardner was a.
Every time you say Monica, we have a drinking game, guys, where anytime the word Monica is said,
it's Friday. That was the first one. I bet you everyone's due for that.
Hell yeah. Sorry, guys. We're overdue for that. We'll make sure we say Monica a lot more in the future.
Well,
we don't want you being thirsty out there. This is water, by the way. I'm not a drinker.
I can't drink that fire water. That whole registration, you know, you build this reality around someone. You're in a fake reality.
Truman
yourself.
Show. That's what I call
Truman.
Yep.
That's right. Tori Crispin. Really, that video, if you don't watch anything else of hers, watch the video where she talks about the Truman Show.
Exactly. Great.
Now she does talk about the Truman Show a lot, but look for the title that says The Truman Show.
I'll link it in the description, guys, a couple hours after this video because that's a
God
great
bless
video.
that woman. God bless that woman.
Freaking fighter and
that's a
sweetheart
short
at the same
video
time.
with so much insight.
Yeah, all of her videos.
Yeah,
Tori's one of the OGs.
She is totally.
I hope she comes back, man. I reached out to her a few weeks ago. I'd love to interview her. Maybe we can get her on here, but she's not doing the rounds at the moment. I don't think.
Yeah, well, she might have. You know, we all have lives.
She's busy.
Sometimes
she's done her time speaking out, man. She's done her time well before we even started, bro.
Yeah. So, the Truman Show. You're creating reality. You've got your own weird little reality. The illusion that you've created in Scientology that Hubbard has helped you create. And then your seniors have their little reality and their little universe, and it's like universes, literally.
Yeah, that's
colliding.
What they call it.
And they do call it universes. Well, in my universe, it's this, and
Each Thetan has their own universe in Scientology, and we're taught that if we're powerful spiritual beings, that when we get back to native state, we'll be able to create our own universe exactly how we postulate or think it.
And it'll persist.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So without having to have bodies and whatnot. But with every you have to keep that in mind on a social psychodynamic level. You have to keep that in mind whenever you're talking about how someone is handled in a situation like this, where you're trying to completely block off all negativity from the outside world. It's very kind of difficult to do. So especially the more exposure people have, like celebrity status, right? And Marcus Colombo was not big he wasn't a big celebrity at all, but we still created. I did too. I really did. In Beverly Hills, Chihuahua, 1, 2, and 3. That's it. And Point Pleasant, and apparently General Hospital, as we learned today. But my mom used to watch General Hospital.
So did my mom. She used to watch soaps every day.
Soaps, yeah.
When I get home from high school, bro, my mom was so addicted to them. She'd be laying on the floor with her pillows propped up, and all day up until the night, she would just watch soaps. Do you want to take this? Hey, Shauna, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
You're all
talking about
Mark Buddy.
Go ahead.
Well, she's adding people. She's adding you and Bach Buddy. I don't know what Bach Buddy says.
No, the comment on the screen, bro. You all were talking about how Marcus was angry about someone getting away with infanticide, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell him what we were talking about. If
Well,
it's not too triggering again.
No,
bro,
I mean,
say it again.
Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, I mean, the fact, what I was trying to explain, I got triggered trying to explain, because I understand how that pressure works, where the abuser, they only, it's a slow burn, just like the frog in the thing.
Boiling a frog in hot water.
Yeah. So like you turn up you do turn up the heat. And as the heat turns up, it kind of paralyzes the person. The more abuse you see, if you think someone did something really bad to you, like someone just walk up and slap your mama across the face, okay, or hit your big brother with a book, okay, and then that person is being nice to you, and is your father, and is trying to help you learn to read. I got a book in my hand. It's like those Chinese videos where they slap the kids. Or slap not the kids, but the fake babies. They have little plushy babies.
Thank God I haven't seen that. That doesn't sound funny.
Well, it is actually kind of funny, because it teaches the kid very early not to do things that are very dangerous. But
I see.
Like put your finger in a light socket. Like they have the little doll do it, and then they beat the crap out of the doll, and then they put the baby by the light socket. And
did you have to say that out loud? That's terrible, man. This is, by the way, I knew this was going to be a downer, or it's going to be triggering. We need to talk about this. Not a downer.
Okay.
I'm sorry, wrong word. Triggering for both of us. So we do have a beautiful, albeit sad song that Marcus is going to lead us out with. We're getting close to the end here, guys. But Marcus, we've covered a bunch, man. We covered a nice gamut. I hope I didn't talk over you, man. And it felt like you covered. We'll see on the playback. God, I hope not.
I don't feel like I finished that last thought.
Oh, please.
Okay.
I can already hear the comments. You have the floor. I'll shut the fuck up. Give me a signal when you want me to come in, so I know for sure.
Oh, okay.
Like light a smoke signal or something.
Okay. I don't have a lighter.
I'm not going to say a damn thing. Go ahead.
All right.
I don't want to we're talking about the infanticide, if you don't mind talking about it.
Right. Okay. So people getting away with stuff. Like part of and I guess this ties it all together in a nice bow. Like my pessimism for this case and my disbelief that he would be convicted is totally related. Not 100% responsible, but totally related to the fact that there's a person in my life who has gotten away with so much stuff that is way worse than Danny Masterson. Okay. Way worse. And it's done to my family. And so, you can look at that in early childhood experiences. Oh, no wonder you joined Scientology. Yeah, no wonder I joined Scientology, because Scientology was pretty fucking nice to me. All right. So to wrap it all up in a nice bow, that thought process and that little trigger was about people getting away with stuff. Man, Danny Masterson was going to get away with it. Of course he was going to get away with it. Why would he not get away with it? He's got influence, he's got money, he's got power, all the things that my stepfather has. And why would he not get away with it? Well, because I guess of his celebrity status and his exposure and his, even though he's not a AAA star like Tom Cruise, we'll take it. And I'm glad that they took it. I'm glad that justice is being administered in a way
Hell yes.
that is going to lead somewhere
Hell
instead of
yes.
nowhere.
I hope
Because
so,
the
bro.
road to nowhere leads to me.
I like that. That's a perfect place to end off. But first, I mean, and we got the dog in here and everything. Brother, do you mind if I throw up a couple of quick things? I don't want to, there's so many questions and stuff that came up. Do you mind if we take 5 minutes and just plow through some of these and then we'll end off with your gorgeous song? Because I'm so sad, man. Thanks for sharing, bro. I really appreciate you being open.
No, the song isn't sad. The song is just observational.
It's beautiful and a little sad. And they're all related to our cult experience. That's what I love about them. And Mary, I really appreciate you.
His cult Catholic experience.
Right. Mary, I'm a huge dog lover, despite Marcus not being. I don't know how you could be that way without.
I love dogs.
I know we don't need to hear a whole justification. Mary, I appreciate
that one.
That dog is adorable in your thing. It's just we need more.
Thank y'all
puppies
for
too,
sticking
man,
around
cats
and dealing with all this.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Hopefully, it's a little less ADHD, but I know we covered, even in the first one, we covered a lot of ground. It's just there's just a lot to talk about. We've already been going for almost 2 hours, Marcus. So, didn't the Supreme Court rule that Scientology is not a church?
No.
No. That's no.
False
okay.
data.
Here we go. Perfect thing to end on. Thank you, Brandy, and welcome. Okay, I am new to this group chat.
She wants to know about Monica.
Which is the Monica thing and why I should get my tequila out. First of all, we just said it again, but you should get your tequila out only if you feel like it.
Want to know.
Inquiring minds want to
Listen,
know,
you got to stay, Brandy, you got to stay tuned for the whole series because Monica is the final video to kind of wrap up Marcus's story, which we're towards the end of. So we'll explain all about it. And we have to tread carefully and prepare that one a little bit, Marcus, because I don't want to say anything that you don't want to say.
Oh, God.
It will all, we're not a secret society trying to bring you up the levels, Brandy, and go step by step, and we'll reveal the secret at the end. But in this particular case, you do have to stick around because that is the finale on the whole fucking thing. Anyways.
FML.
So nobody's really in on it. It's just,
yeah,
it's to be
just a thing right now.
Exactly.
She says, "You're welcome, baby."
Cynthia, can you please throw your dog in for the outro here? If you don't mind.
Hear you.
Oh, she can't. Okay.
But I can tell her. Cynthia,
Marcus,
can you please throw your dog in for this last little part?
Marcus, can you do me a favor and tell me what to type in YouTube because I got to pull up that song again.
Yeah.
Throw the dog in.
All right, it's gonna be. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right, it's gonna be Matthew Moore. Hyphen honest hyphen purpose of a preacher.
Got it. Wait until you guys hear this. And also, I think next week, Marcus, I really want to start out with the Going Clear song that you did because it's been a long time since we've heard that thing, and it's always appropriate to kind of set the mood, for what we talk about. Of course, I have to get past this stupid commercial. So annoying. Okay.
Thanks, Shanna.
So, Guy, what did Shanna say?
She doesn't go outside, Brock. She does go outside to pee and stuff, but she doesn't wander around. She's blind.
I know. 17 years old, which in dog years is what? How times 12? Isn't that times 12?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm 7.
She is a freaking cutie. I can't look at that face, man. She just looks like she would.
This dog is psycho. Okay.
I know.
Everyone that's looking is like, oh, cute little doggy. But this dog
she's a sociopath.
Is an angry masturbator and a terrorist.
She is cute.
But yes, she's cute. Okay.
It's kind of appropriate and not appropriate at all for what we've been talking about today. But
right.
But thank you, Marcus.
Masturbator.
Much appreciated.
Punches, whatever.
So we're gonna go guys, thank you very much for joining us. It's so cool to see new people and all the familiar faces. And have an excellent weekend. And we're gonna do
have a great
outro.
weekend, everybody.
Hell yeah. We're gonna do the outro on this song. Marcus, do you want to say how this song relates to you? So it's not just some random video we're playing.
Sure. I mean, this was like when you took your little break, I kind of told him that we were going to be playing a song that I helped produce or co-produce with my cousin and Rick G. Nelson from the Afghan Wigs. And we recorded this last year, or was it this year? Fuck, I don't even remember. But it was released.
That much pot?
It was released this year. And it's his first major release. So,
wow, really? It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing, especially
he's an Austin-based artist.
Released.
Yeah, he's very his writing is. If you guys like my writing, and you're gonna really dig this guy.
Yeah, get a load of this. So here we go, guys. This is called The Purpose of a Preacher, and the weekend's just about to begin. So
food for thought.
Let's celebrate a victory with just all that's happened in the last couple of weeks, and
let them emotions out if you got them.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Reality's the base in which I start construction. I surround you with walls that help lessen your suffering. And when it gets cold and you're wondering how you'll survive it, I'll place you in my mouth and I coat you with saliva. Reality's the knife that cuts your hand instead of your potatoes. It's an unnecessary level of pain when your toes kick your bedpost. So I'll tell you a good story that helps you explain it. And I'll shield you from the truth and its loose graveled edges. I swallow you whole. I'm the master creator of all things benign. I'm doing no harm, I help cushion the right. So when you get cancer, I'll say you'll be fine. 'Cause you actually are in this moment in time. Well, aren't you still eating and breathing for nourishment? What good is the truth when it lacks the encouragement? And when you're losing your eyesight slowly over time, I tell you to pray so you don't go blind. I swallow you whole. I swallow you whole. I swallow you whole. And I'm not the first, and I won't be the last. Reality's the devil. I'll shield you from that. I swallow you whole. I swallow you whole. I swallow you whole. And reality's the base in which I start construction.